Alice Falls Again. A twisted tale about the time Alice returned to Wonderland by D.J. Stoneham. Published by Comunicado DJS. Copyright belongs to D.J. Stoneham. All characters, dialogue and events in this story are fictitious. Any similarity to persons living or dead and the events in their lives is purely coincidental. Prologue. Had the jackdaw been capable of logical deduction and aware of Alice's previous adventures in Wonderland, it may have wondered why Alice was back at the riverside, the place where it had all begun many years earlier. True, it was not the exact same river, but a riverside nonetheless, and there were trees here disturbingly similar to the one under which Alice found a rather deep rabbit hole. The rabbit hole. As it happened, there was no great mystery to Alice's presence. She'd escaped home to gather her wits about her. Her Victorian house was sometimes like a giant pressure cooker, forcing all rational thought out through the cracks in the walls and the gaps in the windows. Too noisy to allow sensible decisions to simmer quietly and cook to perfection in one's head, unlike the tranquil countryside behind her house. Alice needed such a place to unravel the knot her life had tied itself into. In a nutshell, school had finished and further studies awaited her in London, but all was not well at home. Her father, who was ill and needed care, was keen for her to leave. Her mother, who was quite self-sufficient, preferred her to stay at home. Pressure cookers, knots, and nutshells. No wonder Alice's head was spinning. Despite his illness, Alice's father continued to see the bright side.
"Tomorrow is the first day of the rest of your life,"
he had told Alice that very morning.
"That means today is the last day of my life as I know it,"
Alice had replied. She had always assumed that the transition from childhood to adulthood would be a slow, smooth process, each day bringing insignificant challenges, invisible, incremental steps towards womanhood. In reality, it seemed that there were long periods when nothing happened. Then a series of major events would collide right in front of her, like stampeding rhinoceroses. Except that stampeding animals tended to charge in the same direction. And did rhinos stampede at all? Unknown to Alice, a very different herd of challenges was preparing to charge straight at her. Corruption and discrimination were tearing Wonderland apart at the seams. They were as significant and conflicting as the challenges she faced in her own life, and far more confusing. In fact, they would threaten not only her life and that of a certain boy called Jack, but the very existence of every living creature in Wonderland. But the jackdaw knew nothing of this as it searched for worms in the undergrowth.